right, welcome back to the IMNerd podcast, guys. I am your host, Freeway, and I'm here with my co-host, Kenny. And we
Yes.
also have a returning special guest for the third time here, Anthony Simpson. We are going to be talking about a myriad of topics coming off of the holiday. I hope everyone enjoyed their holiday, Thanksgiving and Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all that stuff. Hope that you spent some money on some cool ass electronics, some nerdy shit. I know I bought a new microphone for the podcast and like a new monitor, a whole bunch of random stuff to try to get my setup to be a little bit better, increase the quality here. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about a whole bunch of things. A lot has happened in the last week, and we were off. We took a week off as a break, so a lot of things have happened in this last week, and we just want to talk about some of it. How are
Yeah.
you? How are you doing, Kenny?
I was going to pop off. I'm like, yes, 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 welcome back. But then I remember the last time I did that, I got yelled at.
Yeah, well, you stopped fucking cutting me off, goddammit. Yeah, I'm happy to be back though. We haven't recorded in a while. It feels nice to finally start getting some content back out. Back on the what is it called? Bi-weekly, which is the most confusing. That word is fucking confusing.
To clarify, bi-weekly apparently means twice a month or twice a week.
I hate it. I hate that bi-weekly means two different things.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't like that,
isn't it?
I don't like that. Why does a word just mean two? And they're very different things. I hate it.
What if your whole life you thought bi-weekly meant twice a week, right? And it's you get a job that says they pay you bi-weekly.
Oh my god, you think you're in there?
And then
like, I get paid every 2 days.
You're going to learn that day. You're going to learn that day.
And then a whole week passes, and another week before you get your first paycheck, and you're like, hold up. I'm supposed to have like 4 more of these.
Yeah, that shit is obnoxious. Okay, so real quick, before we get completely started on this episode, I do want to give a shout out to our patrons. We have a Patreon, IMNerd podcast. So if you guys want to look us up, we have exclusive benefits like extra episodes that are only on Patreon. We have our biggest one. It's about cheating in Yu-Gi-Oh! So that one is huge. It literally talks about all the different crazy stories that I've experienced and or know about with cheating stories in Yu-Gi-Oh! And just some of the craziest things, some of the craziest shit that I've ever seen. So if you want to see that,
and maybe next
subscribe
time
to the Patreon.
Topic on cheating on your man. Find out more at 11.
Not cheating on your man. But yeah, we have exclusive content on Patreon. Also, there's full video versions of all the podcast episodes. So like even right now, if you're listening to this on Spotify or whatever, you can watch the episodes and actually see us physically through Patreon. But yeah, so to get started on that, we have Connie, Austin, Leon, Quest, Garen, Xavier, Hylian, TCG Automotive, Silver Chronic, Tyree Tinsley, Dimitri Barnes, Alexander Brissett, Vinny Casello, Dominic Roberts, Giovanni Avelos, and Game Freak Yoshi. So we also had another patron, I believe is the newest one was Clifton Land. So shout out to you guys for joining the Patreon, supporting the podcast, and this is the start of a new month. So that means that we'll definitely have an exclusive Patreon only episode coming out this month.
Yes.
Yeah, look out for that.
And so this is a call out. We'll also make a post about it in the IMNerd Discord. But if you're one of the patrons and you want to suggest what the Patreon exclusive episode is going to be, email, type to us on Discord, message us, whatever.
Yeah, that's how all the episodes. Honestly, yeah, they've pretty much come from that. The episode about cheating in Yu-Gi-Oh! Literally came from the patrons just asking, "Hey, can you do an episode on that?" And at first I was like, "Oh God," but it actually turned out to be a pretty fun episode. So thank you guys for suggesting that.
Hell yeah.
The other thing I wanted to dive into, so as some of you may or may not know, we lost a really big figurehead in the fashion industry this week. Virgil Abloh, he was the guy who started Off-White, big clothing brand. Have you ever seen like the clothes that have quotation marks? It'll say like really cool stuff. Like for example, if you bought a bag from Off-White, it'll say "for goods" in quotations. He did a wedding dress for Justin Bieber's wife, and on the train of the wedding dress, it says like "till death do us part" in quotations. So he has like a lot of cool motifs with his brand that he started, Off-White, and it became really, really big. And then eventually he was promoted to creative director of Louis Vuitton, which is unheard of. And this guy is literally like an African-American male who just was designing for the last several years and started a really successful brand and then became the head of Louis Vuitton and has been doing like Louis Vuitton fashion for the last couple years. Is really, really crazy, like his success story. And he died to a rare form of cancer this past week at the age of 41, I believe. Very young. So I just want to give a shout out to him because, as you know, people do know, I love fashion. I'm really big into like the fashion world. I love just everything about clothes. It's like my favorite thing. And Virgil was one of the most influential people in the last 5 years. It's just crazy that out of nowhere, like quietly, because no one knew, but he just passed away. And have you ever seen people walking around with the sneakers that have the zip ties on them? You might not understand. I get asked all the time whenever I wear like some off-white Nikes. Walking down the street, especially when they first came out, I would have older people like, "Hey, you still have the tag on your sneaker?" And I'm like, "No, that's not what that is. Like, that's actually supposed to be there by design." But he had a degree in architecture, and so he used that like knowledge of architecture to in the fashion world. His thing was like deconstruction, and he would take things like the Nike Air Force One, and he would literally deconstruct it, and that would be like how he sold things to the public. Like he would deconstruct everything, a deconstructed hoodie, a deconstructed pair of pants, and it's really cool to see how he didn't go to school for like fashion design, but he applied something else to fashion design and it made it very unique. And yeah, he was broken. He was just an insane designer. Much respect to him. And yeah, his legacy is definitely going to be a great one, especially because it's like, I don't think I've ever seen another designer have a 5 year run like he did. It's just really crazy. And I don't really think there's a replacement for Virgil. So just wanted to get that out there, start us off.
R.I.P. Dante's brother.
R.I.P. Dante's brother. All right, so over the break, we actually met up in person, and if you're looking at this on Patreon, you can see that in the background we have.
I wasn't invited.
Anthony wasn't there because Anthony declined.
Hold on, let me step in, okay? So, for the past however many years, every year, a lot of us met up at Ant's house. This year, we weren't able to do that, and Ant was still in New York. He ditched us for his husband. I was going to say boyfriend. He ditched us for his husband. Right.
That's not true.
He was like, "Fuck y'all," and then,
Anthony broke tradition.
That's right.
I did not ditch you guys for Kevin. I ditched you guys for Kevin and all of our other D&D friends as well.
So basically, he said, "I ditched y'all for my real friends." Anyway, we met up at another one of our friends' house. It was me, Frazier, and then like 4 or 5 of our other friends. We all met.
Yeah.
And
really fun.
End up staying awake for like 40 hours.
Literally that. We stayed up. We did not go to sleep. I went to the movies first. I went to see House of Gucci, which was actually randomly a good movie. But yeah, I went to see House of Gucci, and then right after that, I joined you guys over at our other friend's house. And we ended up playing Smash, which we always do. Like when I walked in, they were literally already playing Smash. And I was so happy because I was hoping that it wasn't like the end of the session where everybody's like, "Oh, I'm kind of bored, I'm done." Because that always happens.
Yep.
But apparently it was at the beginning. So we got some Smash Bros in. I recently, because I'm a tier whore, I started playing Byleth recently. So I have like this makeshift Byleth going on right now. But like, I don't know, man. I was able to win a couple games with Byleth. Byleth was kind of nice.
Byleth is kind of nice. I was just using Sora.
You know who I've randomly picked up is anime girl.
Pyra
Mithra.
They call her Pam. Pyra and Mithra Pam.
I'm not calling her Pam.
I'm not calling her Pam either.
I'm calling her. All right, well, since you guys don't like it, I'm calling her Pam.
We cannot call her, especially because one of my friends' mom's name is Pam, and she's like really short and has a mustache.
So, no, wait.
So like,
wait, back up. Wait, did you say the mom is short with a mustache?
Yeah. I'll never forget. One year on his birthday, my uncle drove me up there, right? And my uncle, he saw her and like couldn't contain his laughter, and then
that's so rude.
You know what's funny is I know which uncle he's talking about too.
He was like, we were like taking pictures for his birthday, and he was like, "Yo,
that's
make
so
sure."
Rude.
He was like, basically, at one point, he handed me the camera because he wanted to get into a picture with her.
Yeah, he wanted to be photographed with the bearded lady.
And then like afterwards, I remember him saying like, "Yo, did you see her? She had a mustache." Like,
oh man, that is absurd.
I'm sorry for anybody that has a mustache. You know, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at her.
Yeah, just specifically Pam.
Just Pam.
Yep,
just wrong being mustached and the lady.
That's true. But
2020
in 2021, it's fine.
Yeah,
but
it is absolutely fine. But
in
when we were growing up,
1999,
she's had it since the 90s.
In 1999, we lived in a different time, and we weren't as open as we are now.
Forward thinking.
She was ahead of the curve Good old Pam.
Yeah, that's what she was ahead of the curve. That's
she
what
was
it
she was ahead of the fucking
was.
curve.
She was like, in 20 years, it's gonna be the style.
Oh man, it's so good. But yeah, so you picked up Pyramithra, I picked up Byleth, and Kenny picked up Sora. So all of us are using fucking new DLC characters basically, because everyone knows Smash is now all pay to win.
Yeah, it may have 80 characters, but it really has 10.
It really does have 10.
It's whatever the last 10 were.
Yeah. Everyone is literally just playing the DLC now. It's DLC in like Diddy. Like that's like the tier
Yeah.
list. So but yeah, we play Smash, and then so I haven't played a Mario Party game in a very long time, but we ended up transitioning to Mario Party randomly because Kenny recently acquired the game. And again, I haven't played Mario Party. It has been over 15 years since I played the Mario Party game. Easily. Like easily. But I remember when I was younger and I did used to play them, they were extremely fun. So he brought it out and we started we started at 3 a.m. We started playing at 3 a.m. and we played probably until 7 a.m. We only played 2 games. They took like legit like 2 hours each, but they were so fucking fun. Like I had a ton of fun. The new game, what was it called? Super Mario Party?
So I was actually going to comment on that. So Fraser has a wallpaper up if you're watching the video, and on his wallpaper it says Super Mario Party. Now, it's confusing because, I don't know, Nintendo sometimes is a little idiotic when it comes to naming things. So Super Mario Party is the last Mario Party on Switch. The newest Mario Party on Switch is called Mario Party Superstars. So they both have super in their name.
I'm already over it.
So if you want to buy the best Mario Party game, you want to buy Mario Party Superstars. Do not buy Super Mario Party. That's the old one, and honestly just isn't that good. It's okay, but the new one, Mario Party Superstars, is better in every single way. There's not a single thing the other one does better.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun, especially someone who hasn't played them in a very long time, and just seeing how they are. Now they have this really cool thing that makes it really entry level. So anyone who wants to play it, they have before every mini game, they have a preview screen, a little screen where everyone can literally test out the game they're about to play for the win.
Yep.
And I think that is such a huge thing because before in the old days, like let's say I was the guy who owned Mario Party and I took the game over to a couple friends' house and we all played together. More than likely, I'm going to win just because of the fact that I've played these mini games before. I know how they all start. I know how they all end. But the people who have never played before, they might get caught off guard at like the opening. They might not know what to do with the controller. This one literally tells you on the right exactly what controls to use, and then on the left it has a screen where you can literally practice doing it.
Yeah.
And
what's really cool about that is it actively, the screen is there and you actively can practice the mini game right there. So in some of the older ones, I don't remember which one was introduced in, but fairly early on, they did add a practice mechanic, but the way it worked was it showed you the mini game and it showed like a demo of the game in the screen, and you had to press, so like start would be to start the mini game. You would press like Z, and Z would let you practice the mini game, but what it would do is load you into the mini game, and then you guys would have to go through a load screen, just play the mini game like normal, and then it would load you out. And so you have to just go through various load screens to kind of slow it down, and it made it so most of the times, if you did do a practice, you would only do it once, and then you'd be like, all right, you'll just have to do it. But because you don't got to go through load screen to do the practice now, it's just like right there. You can just like freely practice without going through load screens. It makes it a lot more accessible, and I found a lot more people are having it. They just have an easier time with it because it's not like you're going through a load screen, start, it tries to go, and then you leave, and you're like, oh, but I kind of messed up. I want to try this again. Then you got to go through another load screen. Instead, it's just like right there, and you're just doing it.
I like that with the practice screen. You can try as many times as you want. So, excuse me. So a lot of us who hadn't played in a while, or have never, well, I think outside of Kenny was the only one who had played this specific Mario Party game. But all of us who were playing with him, we didn't know really any of the mini games. We were able to practice as much as we wanted to before the game started. And honestly, we probably spent like a half hour total time just on practicing for the mini games. Like if you add up all the time that we played Mario Party, which is like 4 hours that night, probably a good half hour was just on the practice screens, like over time.
I would have fought y'all. I don't know.
No,
let's go.
But it's quick as it's happening.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is.
Yeah,
and everybody gets their feeling and shit.
I'll admit, I've been that person that just practices and practices, and everybody's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna win."
Yeah, like I'm
That's
trying to
what
win
I'm
this
doing.
shit. Yeah.
Like, what?
I also like the practice thing because it also lets you develop a strategy before it starts, which I think is so fucking cool. Like Kenny, you saw the one game I won
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
snowboarding one. I knew because of practice, and I didn't show it during practice, but I knew during practice that on the GameCube controller, we were all using GameCube controllers. And basically, the way the snowboarding game works is you have to press like X, B, A, Y in order, or like however it goes in a circle, really, really quickly to do the snowboarding. You get points as you go. And I realized quickly that I could move my fingers around the GameCube controller during practice, but I didn't actually show it because I didn't want them to do it too. So when it started and got to my turn, I did it, and I just like immediately won the game,
Yeah.
and that was so cool because of the
In
practice
practice,
mode.
like, he just A B X Y A B X Y A B X Y.
Yeah,
But like pressing them. But then when the game started, he'd like rotate it
yeah.
with his
And,
finger,
and it's
like on
funny
a
too because
circle.
like some of the games require you to just press one button rapidly, and Kenny would get into a position to literally burn his fingers. Like he would do exactly what Nintendo said not to do. If you heard our Nintendo 64 episode, we talked about an article that came out a long time ago about the Nintendo 64's controller. And back then, like people were trying to sue Nintendo for getting like rug burns on the palm of their hands from playing Mario Party because they would be like grinding too fast or like trying to win the mini games. So basically, Kenny said, "Fuck all that. I'm going to actually do that regardless, and
Because
whatever
there's a
happens,
warning.
happens."
For those games, there's a warning out that says, do not use the palm of your hand, and it tells you exactly how to do it. There's a warning on the screen. And
Mm.
Cheyenne was like, guys, we're going to do it the right way. We're not going to follow the warning. I was like,
He tried to tell you we're not.
I was like, you can do whatever the fuck you want. I was like, I'm doing it with the palm of my hand. He was like,
Yeah.
oh, but like, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I don't want to risk breaking my controller. I was like, it's a GameCube controller. It's not breaking.
Yeah.
I'm doing it this way.
Yeah, and if it breaks, buy a new one. You want to win, don't you?
You want to win. I got like 5 GameCube controllers. I'm good.
Yeah, not only that, but I think like whatever limits you do have, you know when to stop. You know what I mean? Like you're not a fucking
Yeah,
child. Like like I don't know if you were in any pain that night because you did win pretty much every one of the mashing ones. But like if it came down to it, like you would just stop if it burned.
I'm not going to actually
like,
bleed my finger out to win a Mario Party game. But
those games, a lot of them. Go ahead.
But if you're playing Mario Party, do you really know that you're gonna win anyway? Because
Oh, you don't.
Mario Party, you're like, I've got 4 stars, and everyone else has 1, and I've got 80 coins.
Yep.
And then those star bonuses are like, all right, who lost the most?
Yo,
Who
here's
was
the thing.
slowest person?
Yo, fuck the star bonuses.
the star bonuses,
You can just
though,
literally trade places with somebody in the middle of the game, which happened to Kenny.
listen, the star bonuses at the end of the game, they're not too bad because at the end of the day, it's only 2 stars, and you can kind of like, mitigate it. But mid-game, oh my god. So our one game, Cheyenne lands on a square, and essentially what ends up happening is Frazier ends up having to give me like 30 coins. So Frazier gives me like 30 coins, and he's like, oh, that sucks. And then I go on, and I end up getting like a fucking 3 or 4 star lead on everybody. Like
Kenny had so many more stars than us. I think you literally did have a 2-star lead on whoever was next.
And then Cheyenne landed on that square again, and it ended up being Kenny and Frazier swap stars. So
And
Frazier
coins.
and coins. So
And
basically,
coins.
Frazier got all
That's
the stars I
insane.
bought using his investment. All right, he basically invested 30 coins in me. I went and bought stars, and he got them back.
It was fucking amazing because Kenny had so many more stars than everyone else that like it put me so far in the lead. Like I think when the game ended, I had 5 stars and the next closest person had 3. And then like at the end of the game, I ended up losing the game to because of the bonuses. The bonuses literally gave 2 stars to someone else, and it actually put them ahead of me. It was actually phenomenal because I was losing that game. I was in last place for a bit, and then out of nowhere, I was just in first. And when the game concluded, like if the game concluded with no bonus, I just won the game.
Yeah.
I just won the game. Yeah.
This is why I love Mario Party, and I also hate Mario Party.
Yeah.
Like, what? How do you? I was sure that story was gonna end with and Frazier won with his 5-star lead, but
Oh,
nope, he
dog.
somehow lost.
Yeah, actually, exactly. We swapped. I had a 5. Like I was up 5 stars, and then I ended up still losing at the end of the game. That's how funny.
He ended up losing
Insanity.
by coins because the bonus stars ended up making Gary.
That's what it was.
It made it so Gary ended up tying with Frazier in star count, but Gary had more coins.
Yep.
So
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing how that turned out. Like, if you looked at the game, you'd be like, "Oh, well, you win now for sure." Like, the second Kenny and I swapped, there was like only 3 or 4 turns left in the game. So it happened so late that it was like, well, shit. Like, that literally just decided who wins the game. Like, that whole scenario, that swapping stars and coins, that just decided the winner. And then Gary was like, well, actually, I'm going to get hooked up on both of the bonus. And then he tied with me, and then it went to coins, and he had more coins. So it was really fun. But the point is, we had a fucking shit ton of fun.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
A great thing about this Mario Party is it has 5 boards, and it's boards across the first 3 Mario Parties. The boards are incredibly well designed, and there's a lot of decent decision making that goes into all 5 of them. So whereas the last Mario Party game, all 4 boards, there's only 4 boards, they were all just basically squares. Like, they were just all just a series of squares. Whereas in this Mario Party, each of the boards have their own gimmick, which is really cool. Like, the very first board, which Fraser didn't get to play on, the star doesn't move. It's in one spot. There's like a star spot and a Bowser spot. And if you land on the happening square, it switches the star and Bowser. And there's like a toll booth you can go through. And there's like decision making depending on what side of the board you want to stay on and like where you want to go. You can every time you go through the toll booth, you can raise the price of the toll booth. So like if I go through first, I can make it 10 coins. So that means the next guy has to pay 10 coins to go through. But if the next guy pays 50 coins to go through the toll, that means the next guy has to pay 50. And yeah, it's just like cool. The star swaps, and there's a lot of cool shit you can do with that board. And all the boards have their own little gimmick, which is nice.
Yeah, we played on one board where every turn the signs change, and when the signs change, like let's say the sign was going left, that means that when you pass that sign, you have to go left. But if the sign is facing right, then it makes your character go right. So, and every single full turn, so every time like it's 4 of us playing, after all 4 people take their turns, every sign on the map switches. So if it was left, it goes right. If it was right, it goes left. And that shit creates a whole different level of decision making, where you want to position yourself. It changes what items you want to buy from the item shop. There's this one item that is so broken, it probably needs to be patched at some point, but it's the golden pipe.
The golden pipe.
Golden pipe is always nice.
The golden pipe is so broken, and literally,
doesn't it cost like 50 coins or something?
25.
Oh shit!
So it doesn't cost. That's the other thing. It doesn't cost enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a broken asset, and basically our game literally degenerated to how many golden pipes can you buy throughout because that literally determined. Like, Kenny got those stars from just accumulating golden pipes, basically. So did Gary. So did I. And like that was the end game. The end game was we probably all got 3 stars minimum off of just golden pipe teleportation.
Yeah, it was a 20-turn game. The last like 7 turns, I want to say, were just like all golden pipes.
Yeah. It was literally, and we got so many stars off of that. Like, it was just like, all right, everyone has 3 stars off of that.
Now, that's a strat, right? But my strat, we also played Mario Party this weekend. I didn't play because I didn't want to sign up for that insanity. But I watched everybody play, and when I do play Mario Party next, my strat is definitely going to be landing on the Bowser squares because...
Oh, you like that shit?
The Bowser square. All right, so if you land in the Bowser square, right, and then you drop down and Bowser terrorizes you, one of the possible outcomes is that you get 100 stars.
Whoa! You want to see it happen? You choose violence.
You know, I was so close to seeing it. Someone almost landed. Someone almost got the 100 stars because I'm just like, are you really gonna get 100 stars? Is the game actually? Because like, you know, what'd be really fucked up is if you get that, you get 100 stars, and then the game continues, and everyone's just miserable for the rest of the turns, knowing that there's no possible way that they
actually, or you could land on that shit that happened to Kenny, and it gives all stars to the other person. That would be wild. Could you imagine you get the 100 stars and then you lose that game? Like, do you want to hear?
Well, how about this? In the first game we played, the first like 5 turns, I literally didn't move on the board. I kept like moving 2 squares and then getting pushed back on Spaceland. And so everybody's just way ahead of me. So I ended up getting pushed all the way back. Because I was winning mini games, I had a lot of coins. So I ended up, because of the Thwomp cars, got pushed like back on the back of the board. But it made it so I could pass Boo. So I was able to pay 50 coins to steal a star. And
that's so fucked up.
So I stole a star using 50 coins. And then I landed on a Bowser square. And then the Bowser square was Bowser Revolution, which is Bowser Communism. And it makes it so that all the coins in play get pulled together and then spread equally. So I was at so I ended up stealing the star. I was at 0 coins, and then I got Bowser Revolution to go up to like 80 coins. I was like, hell yeah.
That was some ignorant shit. I was
Hold
like, yo,
on.
you already own the game. Like, you don't need this kind of luck. Like, that was some bullshit.
You know what's actually hilarious is that they also called Bowser Revolution Bowser Communism.
We literally refer to it as that every single time.
Shit
Yeah,
was
that
great.
but Mario Party, the new one is so fun. I cannot recommend it enough. It's very entry level. You can actually bring it to like a family gathering with a bunch of people who really don't play video games like that, and they will be able to play the game and actually have fun.
To hate each other at the end of it.
So I had that fear before we started. I was because we talk about like one of the ban games for me. Like if I'm ever around, I pretty much ban Monopoly. I've seen that game degenerate into actual fistfights.
It also
I've seen people
takes too long, dude. That game is like a 7-hour game.
It is, and no one can agree on the fucking rules.
Yeah.
And so in the middle of the game, people start trying to do shit that you can't do, or like you might be able to do somewhere else, but not in this house. And it becomes this whole thing where people get really aggressive, and they tend to lose friends or fight. I've seen it happen at least 3 times in my life. So I just banned that shit. Like we do not play Monopoly around here. We do not do that here. Like we are very like an anti-Monopoly. So I was scared with Mario Party for a second because someone kind of alluded to it being like Monopoly, and I was like, no way, like it can't be that bad. But yeah,
I think it gets a bad rap, man. I just think it gets a bad rap. I just think it's a fun game, and
you have to not take it too seriously. Is the thing.
Like you gotta know, like it's a board game. You're rolling dice.
Yes.
There's luck involved. Bad things can happen. But
yes, bad things can happen. And the best part is that it's all automated, right? So with Monopoly, like I said, there's made up rules and all types of shit. I've seen people literally be like, all right, well, I quit. And they just give all their shit to someone else sitting down. I'm like,
you can't do that.
Like, that's not okay. Like, what the fuck? Like, all right, I'm just going to, because like, let's say I was winning, but you don't want me to win. So you're like, I quit. I give all my assets to like Gary. He's like, get the fuck out of here. Like, that doesn't work like that. Like, that's so fun. Like, people
they'll like sell all their assets for $1.
Yeah, stuff like that. So I hate stuff like that. And there's all these like house rules Monopoly, and it's just a lot. So I never enjoyed it ever since I was like a young teenager. It never seemed to go. One, it takes too long, like you said, and then 2, it always just degenerates into like nonsense. Like it just becomes nonsense over time. But Mario Party doesn't.
Yeah.
So. No, it just evolves into absolute chaos. That's all.
Yeah, it evolves into chaos for sure. But it's all good because like everyone gets fucked and everyone gets a come up at some point.
That's true. The other thing that's cool about Mario Party is that it is a game of luck, but I think they do a good job at like 50% of the time, maybe like 40% of the time, you do get to use skill. Because not all the mini games, but a good bit of the mini games are you using some sort of skill set.
And even outside of the mini games, so I agree with you on that. Like the mini games definitely use a skill set. So gamers naturally excel in this, which is why we were all pretty even. Like overall, when it came to winning mini games, like especially me and Kenny, like I think we won the most both games.
We did.
Like yeah. You and I won the most mini games, and you know that comes with just like hand-eye coordination, being a gamer for so long, playing a lot, all that stuff. But then on top of that, the other thing that's understated is decision making. There is a good amount of decision making, and luckily for us, like we were playing with Kenny, who owns the game, and obviously he wants to win too. But he did coach us through some of the moves that we might not have saw as obvious because like he's played before, he might know the board or might know what's going to happen. So he was able to like tell us, like, yo, you probably want to do this because next turn, like the star is guaranteed for you here, or like if you do this, the sign's going to switch after this turn, so like you actually won't be able to go for it like you think you will, and you things that you might overlook because you haven't played it before. If you're playing,
I want to win, but I don't want to win because I didn't tell them the rules. You know, like that's not fun. Like I want to have fun more than anything.
Yeah, imagine I think I'm going for the star, and then my character goes left, and I wanted to go right, and I'm like, oh shit, the sign switch. I didn't realize how that worked.
And then all that does make so that you have less fun because you're like, oh man. But if instead I'm like, hey Fraser, the sign's going to switch, and I tell you ahead of time, you're like, oh okay. And then
that literally happened. Yeah, that literally happened. Literally, I thought I was going to get the star. It was like 2 spaces away from me, but then he was like, the sign's going to switch, so you actually won't be able to go. So then I had to use an item that makes it where I don't move.
Yeah.
And it was really broken. So the game is extremely fun. I do recommend it. It was one of the best parts of the holiday week. My birthday was Thanksgiving Day. Celebrated that with family. Had a lot of fun. I actually wish that I had played Mario Party before then. because I
Play
might have
with
actually,
family, yeah.
yeah, I might have actually played with my family while we were drinking, which would have been really funny.
Yeah,
Like drinking the Mario Party, I can just imagine that probably is a bad thing, but I can imagine
yeah.
like everyone who loses the minigame has to like take a shot, or maybe every
Yeah.
person who maybe every one or team that wins has to
Has to
take a
take a
shot. That way
shot.
you get worse at it over time theoretically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's how you get a Joy-Con flung into your TV.
yeah.
Yes. Remember like those old like Wii
Well, that's
diagrams
why
that be like don't swing and hit your
Yeah,
mother
That's why you
with
got
the
to be
Wii
like
Remote?
me. Because I brought Mario Party to my family's house for Thanksgiving as well, because I planned on playing with my family, and I did. I didn't get to play with many people, but I think on Christmas I'm going to get to play with more. But I brought 4 GameCube controllers specifically. I was like, y'all are playing with regular old wired controllers.
yeah,
And I can trust that GameCube controller. Like, I wouldn't let my cousin use my Pro controller, even though my cousin is an adult. I just wouldn't let him use my Pro controller because I feel like I just wouldn't. I trust the GameCube controller that it won't fucking break or mess. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they'll be able to use it. I don't really got to worry about, even if they throw the controller, which I wouldn't want them to do. I'm not really worried about the GameCube controller broken. Like that shit is so tough. Like half my GameCube controllers I've had for 10 years now, and they still work perfectly fine.
Yeah, it'll just break whatever it hits.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
yeah. I agree. Like you have to be careful if you're going to be using anything that can be flung. Definitely if you're going to be drinking. But I do think that this will probably make a fantastic drinking game. We should probably do that at some point.
I'm
Like
down.
all of us.
I'm down.
Yeah. Even if it's just wine, because like now I'm at older age, I mostly drink wine. I'm not really big on like vodka and shit like that. I don't really care for doing shots of vodka. That shit is nasty to me now.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's a distinguished bitch now.
I've never
okay.
been.
I am fancy.
I've never really been a drinker at all, but
Yeah.
for the sake of just like hanging out with a bunch of friends and playing Mario Party, like I would partake in
and
whatever the drink of choice is.
yeah, and wine won't get you like absolutely fucking ruined. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like most wines, they are very mild as far as like what it actually does to you, you know, mentally and physically and stuff.
I know some houses will fucking play Mario Party and take shots of Everclear or some crazy shit.
Yeah, like that is too much.
Like
That's
a
rubbing
house
alcohol.
of 18-year-olds? Like,
yes, a house of kids.
Everclear, Jesus.
I
Like,
actually
yo,
won't
you
do a
trying to
shot.
have a bad time? Drink some Everclear. Do that. Shit.
I actually will never do that because, you know, my good friend Steve Silverman, when we were younger, he decided to take a shot of Everclear on camera. And this video is probably somewhere. He probably still has it. Someone has it. He took a shot of Everclear and he threw up in less than 5 minutes.
My.
Like he sat there dry heaving and just like, I think I'm going to throw up. And we were just staring at him. And eventually he just fucking vomited.
It's crazy because people do take shots of it, and I think it says on the bottle that you're not supposed to drink it. Like you're supposed to mix it. Like you can drink it, but you need to mix it with something. You're not supposed to just drink it straight.
Usually when I drink Everclear, and I haven't drank Everclear in a long time, but when I have drank it, it was always made in jungle juice. So you're taking a whole thing of pineapple juice, a whole thing of orange juice, a whole thing of fruit punch, and just a bunch of other actual sugary drinks, and then you're just dumping Everclear into it, and then it mix it up. You barely taste the alcohol at that point, but it gets you really fucked up, obviously, because it's still Everclear in there. So no matter how much you don't taste it, it's in there. And that has led to some interesting nights, but you know.
Oh, you done it more than look. I did it once. I drank Everclear once, and I'm pretty sure that I fell down some stairs and woke up in a bathtub. So
that's the night you woke up in a bathtub?
It was Everclear's and what was it, Incredible Hulks. Oh man!
Oh my god!
Ant woke up in a bathtub, and the tub was literally filled with ice, and he had like a black mark circle around like where his spleen is.
The tub was not filled with ice. The tub was not filled with ice. But I was playing Grand Theft Auto Vice City at the time, and one of the radio stations does warn about waking up in a bathtub full of ice. So I was a little scared. I was like, "Oh shit!"
Oh, dude,
my god!
Speaking of waking up, while we were all hanging out over the like when we were playing Mario Party that night, at one point we were all talking about Squid Game. So we're sitting there talking about Squid Game, and our one friend, the host, basically, he's taking a nap, sleeping on his bed, and it's like what are those rooms called? I don't know, fucking, but it's all one room. We're in the same room that he's sleeping in.
Yeah,
and,
it's a big apartment, but like his bed is like visible in the apartment. Like there's no door to his like where his bed is. So he's literally in this gigantic room. Yes, it's like a very open concept, very new and modern. Like the apartment's really nice, but it does like his bed is literally there. We could like we turn our back, we can see him.
Yeah. So we're
So
there.
he's sleeping behind us, yeah.
And we're talking about Squid Game and spoilers. But toward the end of Squid Game, there's a part where they all eat the steak dinner, and then some of them take the knife, and they're in the room, and it's just like 3 people. And we're talking about how that works, like, what would happen. And Fraser was like, yeah, like, imagine it was me, Kenny, and some random guy. The guy that goes to sleep first is just dead. Like, we just kill him. And he's just like, the guy that goes to sleep first is just dead. So as we're talking about this, and Fraser saying those exact words, our friend, like, groggily wakes up, and he goes, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
He was scared.
Like, imagine
all he
how
heard,
scary that is.
He heard us literally all in agreement talking about, like, whoever goes to sleep first has to die. And all of us were kind of agreeing with that logic, like, yeah, like, they have to die. Like, if you're asleep first, you just die. And then he wakes up, he's like, what the fuck are y'all talking about?
And I understand because I don't put any of you above doing that. So I get it.
That part was hilarious because it was just like, damn, you're legitimately scared, and I feel like your internal like clock woke you up, like danger. His spider sense. His fucking spider sense activated.
Yo, he didn't go back to sleep either, by the way.
He did. He never went back
to sleep.
He actually
like, I
stayed
guess we're up talking now.
Mind you, we stayed up. So that conversation happened probably around like 4 a.m. something like that, and we stayed up until I left at around 12 p.m. 1 o'clock. So he stayed up for several hours after that. After the whole kill.
He was like, I'm not getting Squid Gamed. Nah, catch the right one.
Yeah, but no. Speaking of spider sense, so as you all know, Spider-Man No Way Home is coming out this month. Is officially December. So if you haven't already, change your social medias to a Pokemon picture, and then make sure you try to get tickets for Spider-Man because those shit sold out so fast this week. The tickets went on sale. Kenny and I fortunately did get tickets to a showing. So what we will be doing is that weekend that it comes out, we will be going to see the movie, and then on that Sunday we will be recording the podcast directly on it. But I've seen stories and articles posted about the tickets reselling online for as much as $25,000 a ticket.
Jesus,
you haven't seen that?
No.
Dude, it's such a weird thing to scalp. It's such a weird thing because I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna buy your ticket in Minnesota where I don't live.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
It's very weird, and I don't know how successful people are who scalp movie theater tickets. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
like how successful can you really be in that?
Look,
because I saw Endgame when it first came out.
I could see you if there's like really no seats. I could see you being able to scalp it for like double price, right?
At the movie theater, yes. Like I could see like if like imagine if we lived in the Stone Ages and to buy a movie ticket you still had to go to a concession stand or whatever, stand in line, buy a ticket, and then you could turn around and be like, hey, I don't really want this ticket. Who wants to pay me $50? And then like obviously somebody will step out and they'll be like 50, and be like 75, 100, and it's like okay, I could see that happening. Yeah, I could see that shit going down in person. Like if Endgame, everyone wants to see Endgame the day one. You know what I mean? Like Avengers Endgame. No one wants to be the guy who doesn't know how Endgame ends or gets spoiled on that shit. So you want to see it. I could see that being a big deal. But I can't imagine like buying a ticket on because we all can just buy them online, and then like what do you put it on eBay and be like I'll eBay you the code or the QR code or what? I don't know. It just seems weird. Yeah. But yeah, tickets selling for $25K. I don't think a ticket actually sold for $25K unless some like millionaire just literally wanted to style on people and be like, I bought a ticket to Spider-Man.
Yeah, but like the person that can afford that ticket can just build their own movie theater.
Yeah, like you probably just have a fucking
themselves. What?
You probably went to like the early release of the movie anyway. If you have $25K to spend on a ticket, like I don't know, it's very weird. But yeah, I can't wait for this movie. And also The Matrix is coming out this month as well. So I think we are going to do an episode on The Matrix because I'm a big fan of The Matrix, and I think Kenny also enjoys The Matrix, but he hasn't seen it in a long time, so he's going to like rewatch it.
Yeah. From what I remember, the very first Matrix movie I liked a lot. Actually, the first time I saw the first Matrix movie was in Portugal, back when I was younger. Because when I was younger, I used to go to Portugal every summer.
Wasn't it Portuguese?
No, so it was in English, and it had Portuguese subtitles at the bottom.
Okay.
Something that's interesting. When I was in Portugal, there was a lot of shows that they would show in English on like normal channels. It wouldn't be like you had to go to the English channel. Like regular channels would have a lot of shows that were just in English. And they would have Portuguese subtitles. It was fairly normal. So like a lot of American media just played on normal television in Portugal, which I thought was interesting. I remember watching the Power Rangers, and I think Dragon Ball Z at one point came on, and even DBZ came on in English, and it had Portuguese subtitles at the bottom. But that's the first time I saw The Matrix was in Portugal. And then I've seen The Matrix 2, and I want to say I saw The Matrix 3 at some point, but I don't remember it at all. So I'll probably have to rewatch them. I'm not really excited for the new one, so I don't think I'll be seeing it day one, and I don't super care about spoilers. So like, we can probably still talk about it and everything.
Yeah. Like I'm not too crazy. Like Matrix, I don't know. I mean, I assume there's gonna be a plot twist because we saw like Trinity's in it and all that other stuff. But definitely seeing those two movies this month. Can't wait for either one of them. I'm really excited for Spider-Man. I was a big Spider-Man fan growing up, and so I'm interested to see how that's gonna look with now Tom Holland on his. I guess this is the third one. Like this is the end of the first trilogy for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They also confirmed something. I hate this, but they confirmed that there's another Spider-Man trilogy that Tom Holland will be starring in after this, which is kind of like, I talked to Kenny about this. It's kind of like a spoiler in a way because it confirms at the very least, like, no matter what happens in this movie, like, well, Tom Holland's going to live, right? Like, everything's going to be pretty well for him if he's going to do 3 more movies, like a new trilogy.
Yeah.
So at any point in this No Way Home movie, if he's in danger, if he's about to die, if anything crazy is about to happen, you either know A, he's just going to get out of it, or B, the Time Stone, Doctor Strange is going to reverse time or something and bring him back or something like that. But just knowing that there's 3 more movies after this is kind of annoying. I wish they didn't tell that information until after this movie was like, let it be like a month old and then confirm that. So everyone has already seen it. You know how it ended. And yeah.
Sometimes companies just confirm things way too early. And I don't really understand why. Like I get that there's certain quarterly quotas they got to make, and they want to make certain announcements for certain investments or whatever. But I don't know. I just feel like that's so early.
Probably stocks or something. Everything is monetarily driven. So
yeah. The other thing that's annoying though is like, so one of the ones that I brought up to Kenny's attention, like the Halloween movies. I love them, the Michael Myers movies. And they rebooted it in the last like 3 years or so. So there's 2 of them out now. Well, after the first movie, they confirmed that it's a trilogy. So when I went to see the second movie, which came out this Halloween, like this year, the whole time I'm watching it, I was like, no matter what I see in this movie, I know that he's going to survive and there's going to be another one. So like I knew that Jamie Lee Curtis would also survive. You know what I mean? Like she won't, if she does die ever, it'll be at the end of the trilogy because she's obviously not.
You already know she's not going to die because she's the final girl.
Yeah, so it's really kind of annoying to just know like, oh well, this movie is not going to be the end. Like this middle one, like it's almost pointless. it's like
when there's a trilogy, it's hard to watch the middle one, and you're like, I just gotta wait for the next one, I guess, and then I'll watch.
Yeah. So I hate that they confirmed that early, but yeah. So there's 3 more Spider-Man movies coming out that will star Tom Holland as Spider-Man, so he will be fine no matter what happens to him, and do with that what you will. But that's not going to stop us from enjoying the movie. If it's good, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, see, I'm not going to see it until, I don't know. I'll see it when I see it.
Disney Plus?
No, I'm not going to wait that long.
Okay, you're not going to wait that long.
I don't think it'll come to Disney Plus, though, because Spider-Man's still owned by Sony.
Oh, the Spider-Man movies are not on Disney Plus.
Yeah, they're not. They're not on Disney Plus.
Oh, shit. I didn't even notice that.
Not yet. I think they will be eventually, but they're not now.
But because that's Sony, that's why...
Sony's clinging on to Spider-Man for dear life. This is the only thing they got right now.
They're like, this is ours. Like, we dropped the ball on all the other Marvel shit, but we still own Spider-Man.
That makes sense why the MCU's face was Iron Man and not Spider-Man.
Yep.
I never understood how, because the MCU used to be Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man was the leader of the MCU. And over the course of the last like 10 years or so, like Iron Man is very clearly like the hero. He's the biggest on every poster, on all the movies that have come out. Like he's clearly the face of Marvel now. And I was like, how the fuck did that happen? Like no one really knew Iron Man like that before the MCU. You know what I mean? Like we didn't grow up really, like I did see the Iron Man cartoon, but it wasn't nearly as big as the Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah. Spider-Man became the face.
Because at the end of the first movie, he was like, I'm Tony Stark and I'm Iron Man. And they ran, honestly, I thought it was like, oh shit. When I first saw the first Iron Man movie and he said that at the end, I was like, oh, what?
Yeah.
I was like, secret identity? What's that? And then I actually just, none of them actually have secret identities. I like realized, I watched like the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye yesterday or something like that.
I haven't seen it either yet.
And I'm just like, bro, like people are just like, hey, you're Hawkeye. Hey, you're Hawkeye. And I'm just like, damn, what's a secret identity?
To be fair, he never wears the mask. And thank God.
The
comic book Hawkeye costume's horrible.
But like just actually all of them, everyone.
Yeah, no, you're right.
all are. And
Tom
I'm just
Holland
like,
is the only one that had a secret identity, and this whole movie is about him losing that,
Yeah,
or like losing the fact that people know that he's Spider-Man, because he doesn't want to be like the rest of those fucking Avengers. He's like, don't make me one of them.
not at
the one
all.
thing that I'm a little I mean, I guess I have to see how No Way Home pans out, right? But I'm a little upset that like this Spider-Man franchise series of movies with Tom Holland don't have a Spider-Man 2 movie, you know? Because like Spider-Man 2, like from the Sam Raimi trilogy, was like it was like the Spider-Man movie where he was Spider-Man, like a pretty like not a green Spider-Man, he was like a pretty like he was like a pretty veteran
Established. Yeah.
Spider-Man in New York City, and we haven't gotten that with Tom Holland yet. Like he's either been like a fresh Spider-Man or he's in Europe.
Yeah, he was in Europe for
And
the second
he,
one.
he hasn't really been your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in his friendly neighborhood yet. And
That's
I want
actually
to
true.
see
You're
that.
right about that. I didn't think about that, but the middle movie for any kind of nerdy genre typically goes, first movie is introduction to the character, right? The second one is where they get to be kind of broken because they're that character the entire movie. So I always
Yeah,
think about the second Matrix, like he's the one from the beginning of the Matrix.
Yeah.
Or the Matrix Reloaded. So when you're watching the second Matrix movie, Neo is insane. Like the very first, he gets into a fight in the first scene, and he dogs the agents. Like he just beats the shit out of them, and it looks really cool. It's well choreographed. He's super powerful. He knows he's God, and he's not fearful at any point. They don't really hit him. I don't think at any point. He's just like ODing on them, and that's like such a good opening because the first movie opening is like him walking around as a hacker, as a regular ass human,
Yeah.
and you have to watch all of that, which is, it's important that you see how he came to be, but it's also really cool to get to see a character reach their potential and fucking OD on the bad guys. I love that. So I agree. Like seeing Tom Holland just in New York, being your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, they'll probably do that in the second trilogy.
which okay, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like all the I like all of
because
the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. I liked Homecoming and
no
Far
wait,
from home.
Far From Home.
Home.
Far
Um,
From Home was crazy in theaters.
it was a good movie. Like it was a good movie.
Yo,
I just want to like I was happy to see him and Mary J at the end, and like they were in New York City.
yeah.
Because
I man, I'll never forget. I think this is still the most impactful sound design I've ever. I'm not one of those like artsy fartsy people, but the sound design is so insane on Far From Home when Mysterio reveals himself the first time and he puts like Peter Parker in that genjutsu thing. Oh my god. I don't know if you guys were in theaters when you saw that, but the sound that like it surrounds you, and it's like he gets really loud, like Mysterio. He gets extremely loud at points, and then he gets like his voice like keeps on changing, and like you can feel it around you. That shit. I saw the movie in like Dolby Atmos, IMAX, whatever the highest thing is. So the sound was literally moving around my head, and it was so loud for that one part. That part by itself is one of the best things in the entire MCU to me. Like just the part where Mysterio uses all of the machines to do that genjutsu. I thought that shit was crazy.
That
I
shit
mean,
was sick. I didn't get to see it
honestly,
in theaters, but I need to get
I
a
was
good surround sound system.
I was just happy that Mysterio was in a movie because Mysterio is probably my favorite member of the Sinister Six.
Yeah,
I do think
I
Rey
loved him in a
Mysterio is a good
cartoon.
wrestler.
All right, well, we're not doing this.
I do
We're
think
not,
he's
Sure.
6'9".
we're not doing this.
Uh,
But yeah, when I used to watch the cartoon growing up, I always thought that he was cool as shit. Even though he had like the weird like fishbowl helmet, I still thought he was cool with the illusions and stuff. So seeing him in a
yeah,
movie, like the fact that he got a movie is
it's
really
great.
cool.
It's great.
Yeah, it's
I
really
mean,
cool.
but they did also in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans, they did make Electro into an L from One Piece. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
I know
god.
the first time I saw that he went into he electrified himself into the socket. I was like, oh shit, an L? I was like, everyone finished. I was like,
Yeah.
Peter Parker can't beat an L.
Yeah. That's just a bit much. And it looks like in the No Way Home trailer, Electro looks like he is way more powerful. I
Yeah.
don't know if this has been confirmed. A lot of people have speculated, and it looks like it is true from the trailers at least. But it looks like the Sinister Six has like acquired Stark technology because there's a scene where you see Doc Ock's normal arms from Spider-Man 2, like he has the normal octopus arms, and then you see them with like it literally looks like Stark fusion stuff with it. Like they're fused with like Stark parts. So maybe they found Stark, they broke into his labs and they like stole stuff and they got stronger. But that's going to pose a really big problem, obviously, for Tom Holland, who's also like using Stark technology and probably not the best.
Here's the question: do you guys think that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are going to show up?
Yes.
They have to, man. If they don't, it's going to be... Because I don't know how... So here's the thing. How the fuck does Peter Parker, does just Tom Holland deal with all of them? Like, there's so many of them.
There's even a scene where 3 of them are together. Like Sandman, the Lizard Man, and I forget who else. But there's literally 3 villains on screen. And people speculate that Marvel did that thing that they often do, where the trailer is misleading because you see Spider-Man jump at all 3 of them, but people actually think that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are in that scene, and they're all like the 3 of them are jumping at the 3 villains.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can see it going either way. I can see it being like, I mean, I hope that they're all in the movie, and if they don't do the point at each other meme, it's gonna be a missed opportunity.
Yes,
but I could also just see it not.
Yeah. I mean, getting all 3 of them obviously is like going to take a ton of budget, but I don't know. The way they're setting it up, I feel like they have to be. I
feel like they have to be in it because they brought back every other villain and their actors.
Yeah, it's their actors is the thing.
Right.
They didn't recast. They didn't recast like Electro. Like Jamie Foxx is still in. Like he's in this movie. Like the guy who plays Doc Ock, I don't know his name, but he's also in the movie. Like all of them are actually in. William Dafoe. All of them are back, and I think that to me is a clear indication that the other Spider-Man should be in the movie. Also, I'll be honest, and this is a little shady, but the other Spider-Men, their careers aren't doing the best. So if opportunity's on the table, they got to take it.
Yeah,
I think Andrew Garfield's doing okay.
He's
also I think the simple fact that in one of the trailers, Doc Ock says like, "You're not Peter Parker." That like goes to say that like that Doc Ock remembers what his Peter Parker looks like. You know what I mean? Like the fact that he blatantly says you're not Peter Parker is almost like confirming that there was another Peter Parker and he looked different, and so that's going to be the Tobey Maguire one. I just feel like they've got to be in it.
I think
it might be the best Spider-Man movie if all 3 of them are in it.
Yeah, it's either going to be a really good one or it's going to be awful, and that's the reality of it. I told everyone like, it's either going to be really good or it's going to be way too much happening, and that will just lead to it being like, you remember Spider-Man 3 just had way too much.
I feel like because they already did that though, they're like,
they know the pitfalls.
Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
We're not.
Yeah, they do know the pitfalls of like doing too much, but you have 6 villains, 3 Spider-Men, and Doctor Strange. This movie's gonna be fucking so action-packed.
It's gonna be like Endgame or Infinity War.
Yeah, I was gonna say Endgame and Infinity War. How many heroes and villains did that movie have?
Yeah, it's gonna be so crazy. I'm ready for it. The good thing is, and I like that you guys said that, Infinity War and Endgame, because those movies are really fucking good, and they do have a ton of heroes and actors and all types of shit, right? And villains. What's cool about it is that those movies were done well, and this movie is after that. Yep. So Marvel has the experience of how to correctly direct a film that has a lot of moving pieces and a lot of important pieces. Like you literally had Hawkeye and Black Widow going to get the Soul Stone, and like that's a whole arc, like right, like that's a whole thing by itself. And then the rest of them to go into New York because there's like 3 stones in New York at one time, and that's a whole arc. And then you have like Iron Man meeting his dad from the past. So it is really cool that even though a lot of heroes are in the movie, and then you have like villains and stuff, there's a lot of moving pieces, but somehow it still all just worked like really well.
Yeah, they Marvel's only gotten better, honestly. Like we've said a bunch of times, but most of their movies are bad, but most of their movies are old, right? Like as it's going on, their movies have gotten better. Like every movie before Winter Soldier is just not really a good movie.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, and then Winter Soldier's really good, and then after Winter Soldier, you start to get movies that are actually good. You still have some bad ones, but you start to get movies that are actually good after Winter Soldier, and it just gets better. Like Infinity War, Endgame are like some of the best they've done. We talked about Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings. That movie's, I think, really fucking good. And then the Marvel shows have all been good. I haven't seen Hawkeye yet. The Marvel shows have all been good. They've been consistently doing well, and they seem like their median seems to be trending higher. Like they're not really making things as bad as Thor or Ant-Man and the Wasp anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, the movies have generally gotten better, and it's interesting to me because some of the best ones are the heroes that are not that well known.
Yeah.
Like we grew up, Spider-Man, Iron Man to some degree, the Hulk. Like I knew all of them. I was all of the original Avengers. I'm familiar with literally every single one of them.
Yep.
But then we start getting to like Black Panther. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't really know Black Panther before I saw the Marvel movie. Like I didn't really know anything about Wakanda or any of that shit. So like when that movie was a side character to me, and probably to a lot of people, honestly. Like I don't think there was a Black Panther cartoon that I saw.
That was a cartoon.
Was there?
It was alright.
Yeah, see, I don't remember that, and if I mean, I probably just never watched it, and I don't know many people who talked about it because like usually with my group of friends, like we're all nerds, we all watch pretty much the same thing. Like we like something, we tell each other, but I don't recall like some of these like Shang-Chi. I have no idea who that was before I saw that movie. Like I had no idea.
Just
I
like
didn't
how
know
nobody knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were. Like me and Kenny barely knew who the Guardians of the
I didn't
Galaxy
know who they
were.
were
We
at
only
all.
we only knew who they were because at least I only knew who they were because they showed up in that one Spider-Man cartoon. And
Okay,
then I looked into them and I was like, oh, okay, they seem all right. And then they were getting a movie and I was like, what? And then
yeah,
that was one of the highest grossing movies, and I was
it
like,
it
what?
was, and that those movies like the Guardians of the Galaxy again side characters. Like I had no idea who they were before they were brought into the MCU. I couldn't tell you a single one before that.
Now
I
they're
So
all main players. Like
I
it's
yep,
kind of
only
insane.
the only reason why I knew about the Guardians of the Galaxy is because I want to say on Disney there was a Spider-Man cartoon called Ultimate Spider-Man, and
Was that it?
I got introduced to them in there. It was like I got introduced to the Nova Corps and the Guardians through that random Spider-Man cartoon. This was a long time ago.
yeah. Also, the Eternals, another group of people who I knew nothing
Oh
about.
yeah, I
I
still
can't
have to
wait to
see
see
that.
that movie, man. I'm excited
Yeah,
to watch it. I just haven't
I
seen it.
really, really liked it. I'll stand by that. I'll die on that hill. I think the Eternals was actually a good movie, especially because I don't know. Maybe it's just my taste in movies in general, but it's definitely a darker tone. I do like the person who directed it. I forget her exact name, but she's really really good at creating like not going all Christopher Nolan on it. You know what I mean? Like how the Batman movies are all like oh dark brooding and just super like DC movies are always trying to be edgy. It's not that. It still has the like you can tell it's a Marvel movie. It still has the comedy and everything in it and like that part, but it the pacing is so good and I just think it's really good for characters who at least I didn't know any of them. I didn't know a single one. I recognize all the actors because they're mostly Game of Thrones people, but like outside of that, I didn't know anything about them and I found a story it's an origin story, but it's also extremely interesting to me. And origin stories often are not. So I don't know. I think Eternals is also very good, and like this just supports the point that we're saying about how like the Marvel movies have been getting better over time and not worse. So
Mhm.
No Way Home is probably going to be a fucking knockout. Like they're gonna knock it out of the park.
Yeah, no,
Also, apparently, the Eternals has a lot of eye candy, so I guess I got to see that.
It does. It has John Stark and Rob Stark are both main like pretty main character. Well, Rob Stark is literally the main character. Like that actor is the actual he would be like the main character. So both of them are in it. Kid Harrington and I forget the other guy's name. And
said
you also
eye
have
candy. You mean like rock candy?
yeah, I like that.
Made
And
of
then
tomato.
and then Angelina Jolie is in it. She's gorgeous, always has been. So there's definitely a lot of good looking people. It's like all the Eternals when I think about it. All of them are good looking when I like they don't think I wonder if that's like a
Well,
thing.
they live forever, so yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Never aging.
I imagine if you live forever, you figure out you figure it out.
Yeah.
Like,
You
figure out
you
what
get
you're
it
looking
together.
for.
But yeah, so the Eternals is pretty good. The Spider movies have been pretty good. So you guys said that the Spider-Man movies are still like those are Sony movies?
Yeah, so Sony, I mean, yeah, the Spider-Man live action. So Sony still owns the rights to live action Spider-Man movies. So that's why the Spider-Man movies aren't on Disney Plus.
So
Um,
Marvel still is allowed to incorporate him into the MCU, but they're
they
licensing it
they need
from
Sony's permission.
okay. So anything to
And
do with Spider-Man, it needs Sony. That's annoying.
Yeah,
they probably honestly like cut a contract with them because Sony doesn't know how to make a good movie, so so they were like, MCU, help us,
Yeah.
please, so that we
Yeah.
can make some money off of this license that we are clinging on to for
yeah,
dear life.
but they're not letting go of it because it's still really profitable. So
I
early,
mean, as Spider-Man, like
really
yeah.
early on, like super quick cliff notes of the history, Marvel sold the rights of a lot of their Marvel characters for movies. They sold the rights of X-Men and Spider-Man, for example, to Sony. This is before like the Marvel Studios existed in terms of
Yeah.
movie making. So that's how Sony ended up with the rights for Spider-Man and X-Men, and Marvel ended up being able to get a lot of money from that. And if I remember the story correctly, they were able to use that capital to then make that first Iron Man movie. And then from there they were to actually create Marvel Studios, but by the time Marvel Studios became super successful, they no longer owned the rights to Spider-Man as a movie property.
So they had to sell a part of their soul in order to live and then prosper. And then now that they're prosperous, they're like, okay, we need that back.
Yeah.
Damn. Success, but
interesting.
Spider-Man and Storm were the price.
Yeah, that's interesting though, because like, would you pay? That's the iron price. Like, you got to pay the iron price because losing Spider-Man is fucking huge.
Yeah, it is.
But you know what? I gotta say, it's probably in the long run, it's probably better that happened. Because
Yes, 100%.
without that, we wouldn't have the infamous line, "Do you know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning?"
Oh God,
Yo, that line is iconic. I don't care what anyone says.
Halle Berry.
It is iconically bad. I
The
love that
same
line to
thing
death.
that happens to everything else.
Bro, the first time I heard it, I was in there. I was like, ooh. I was like, what does happen to a toad when it's struck by lightning? She was like the same thing that happens to everything else. I was so let down. I was so let down.
Oh my God. Yo, the way you just perked up, I perked up the same way when she said that shit. I went to go see that movie with my dad. My dad took me and my best friend to the movie theater to see that shit when I was like a child. And I'll never forget, literally when she said that, like, her eyes were all lighting up and the storm was developing in the background. It's all like, it's a super hype moment. And also the toad, his tongue is like wrapped around a railing and he's being blown away in the waters, by like the ocean's behind him or whatever. And it's just a really epic scene. And when she says that line, I like definitely got it in my seat, like, ooh, like what's about to happen? And then it's just it's
Same
nothing.
thing that happens to everything else, and I was like, well, no shit. Like,
Oh my God, that line is so fucking bad. Oh man, that was great.
I wonder how Halle Berry feels about that line. Like if I like ever ran into her and I had
That's the one question.
one question, I'd be like, so do you know what happens to a toad when it's trapped?
To be fair, Halle Berry may be the shit, but she's in a lot of bad movies, I feel.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
She really is. Like, for as respected as she is, why is she in so many bad movies?
Yo,
or if she's in a good movie, she's like always cracked the fuck out.
Yes. Okay.
Cracked the fuck out. And I'm like,
yo, there's a new Netflix movie called Bruised.
And she's cracked the fuck out, or at least she looks like she's cracked the fuck out, and she's terrible. The movie is god awful. I will give it a 20 out of 100. It's so fucking bad. Kenny, I watched the first 20 minutes of it.
About that. People have been telling me to watch that.
It's Kenny, when I tell you that if you watch the first 10 minutes, it is every character is reading from a teleprompter. It is awful.
Oh my God.
It is fucking Halle Berry's acting is terrible in the movie. Every actor surrounding her is terrible. They're all like fucking Z-list celebrities or something, or like just it's awful. It's bad. It's really bad.
It's usually not that the movie's bad and she's cracked out. It's usually one or the other.
Yes. Well, this one she's cracked out, and the movie she's an ex-UFC fighter. So she was a star UFC fighter, but she got knocked out real bad. That's the premise. So she's trying to like Ronda Rousey herself back into the ring. But like, but she's having a hard time because she has like PTSD from getting knocked the fuck out, and it's just a bad movie. It's awful. Man. I turned that shit off. I didn't even make it. 20 minutes in, I was like, oh my God.
It's not even like bad movie, enjoyable bad. It's just only
no. It's not enjoyable. It's actually just. I do think that if we all were together, like our group of friends, and we drank and watched it, we would laugh at it like a lot because a lot of the scenes are cringe.
But it's not it's not funny enough to watch by yourself.
I would not recommend just you watching it to laugh. It's not.
I don't know, because me and Kenny thought the same thing about Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, and we both were just like, turn it off.
So bad. That said, alternatively, on the note of Netflix, I've already PM'd both of you about this, but I just want to say it. The show on Netflix that is relatively new, it's called True Story. It's starring Kevin Hart and Wesley Snipes. Incredible. The opposite of what Fraser said about the first 10 minutes being so bad, the first 10 minutes of that show, I was absolutely hooked. Like, I think all of the acting is very fucking well done. Kevin Hart does his role it's much more of a serious role, although he's still playing his character in the show is a star comedian from Philadelphia, but his role was much more serious, and the story I thought was really enjoyable. The acting is really good. Wesley Snipes, I haven't seen Wesley Snipes, I feel like, in anything in a long time, and Wesley Snipes does a great job. Great actor in the movie, and they have a bunch of other like named actors in the movie. I mean, not movie, TV show on Netflix, but it's called True Story, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, interesting. Well, maybe I'll watch that too. I do want to watch that show Arcane I told you about.
Yo, Arcane's the best thing that I've seen.
You've seen it all? You've seen all 9 episodes?
I've seen all of it. It was the best thing that I've seen. And I was really kind of like, on watching it. I was not excited at all. I don't play, what is it, League of Legends?
Yeah, I don't play it either. Never played in my life.
And I watched
I heard you
it.
don't need to.
First of all, it looks beautiful. Like it is, like every frame looks like it's been painted. The animation is clean as fuck. And
Damn.
like any like effects like water or lightning or clouds or whatever, like the animation, the only word that I can use to describe the animation is delicious. Like it is animated like deliciously.
As someone who actually is in that industry, like you, that coming from you, this means a lot.
Yeah, and the story's actually pretty good, and the writing's all good. So yeah, I definitely recommend.
Well, we're going to do an episode on Arcane because I've been telling Kenny about it because it was trending on Twitter and it was all down my Facebook for like a week, and I've been seeing because I know it ended already. Like it's 9 episodes long, so it's a pretty quick watch probably. And I just heard all the things that you're saying. Like it was beautiful. I heard the story was well written. Like it's just a really good show, and it's obviously very emotional. Yeah, and I heard obviously it's very nerdy. It's League of Legends for God's sakes, but I also heard that you don't need to know anything about League of Legends. Like I don't really know anything outside that. I know one character's name is Jinx, and that's only because one of my friends, Amanda LaPalm, she cosplayed as her like almost 10 years ago now. But literally outside of that, I know nothing about League of Legends, have never played it. I might have watched a single game of it in my life or something. But I heard that you don't need any knowledge of League of Legends to really enjoy it. I'm sure that it amps it, but you don't need it.
The strength of the League of Legends IP is pretty crazy with how old the game is now. Like the game's old now. It's still one of the most popular games in the world. And they're doing a lot. They've made music videos. They created like K-pop groups out of League of Legends with music videos. They have...
Yeah, and honestly, any of those are like sick to look at because I saw one like a few like years ago, and
music videos are insane.
Yeah, the music videos aren't pretty.
Damn.
They now have this show on Netflix. They're coming out with a fighting game within the next couple years. They're growing their IP. League of Legends. It's one of those things where I do think that IP is only going to grow in the next 10, 20 years. It's only going to get bigger and bigger. Like it just seems like a growth IP.
Yeah, that sounds good. So we'll definitely do Arcane for. I know some people are definitely requesting that we do talk about that. It's pretty big. But yeah, I'm excited for that. I love animated shows. We also need to still get back to the Star Wars one. I told Kenny you got to watch that too.
Oh yeah, the Star Wars one's on Disney. At first, I thought you meant like the Star Wars movies. I was like,
no.
Them. I can talk shit on them any day of the week.
Yeah. No.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
I could talk shit on Star Wars, but no, I did hear from you and from some other people. The animated ones on Disney Plus are good.
Yeah, the animated because every episode is done by a completely different like animation house, and I think that's a really cool idea for a show because they're all it's an anthology. Like it's all of them are anthologies, right? Like it's just every episode is completely different from the last. The stories don't really like run together, but they're only 15 minutes long. So it's really easy to watch them. And I thought that some of them were insane. None of them were bad, but some of them were just so far. Like episode 1, for example, is one of the top like 3 episodes easily. It's so good. I mean, the animation alone is amazing. You said what?
I think I've only seen the first 3. Didn't Dante's Inferno also do that? Like the animated movie, like every like chapter was a different animator or something like that.
I don't know. I've never seen it. Yeah, that's interesting. Sure. But so another thing that's interesting that has been trending online this week is we all love Game of Thrones. Apparently, it was recently come out that George R.R. Martin flew to New York to beg HBO to do 10 seasons of the show, and not end it where they did. And they obviously declined, as we know now. But he tried to save the franchise essentially because he knew that it was nosediving if it ended like the way they did, and HBO just said no. We're just going to end it in 8 seasons and also make those last 2 seasons extremely short and basically shit over his work, which is one of the problems when you give away creative control to like a big, Hollywood, and they just take over and they decide like what they're going to do and how. I mean, obviously, money is a big factor in this, so it could also be one of those things where, and I try to think about this from the business standpoint, of why they would want to end a show like that so early. Like, what's the incentive? Because the show was doing phenomenal, right? Like, it was the biggest show on TV while it was airing.
The showrunners want to quit.
So part of it was the showrunners they accepted
Star Wars.
They were going to do Star Wars. Something about that fell through, but at the time they accepted.
They don't need to direct anything, honestly.
They don't. So at the time they were going to do Star Wars, and so for them that's a huge opportunity. I mean, imagine going from Game of Thrones to like the other biggest fucking fantasy franchise, So they get a Star Wars job, and they were like, "Oh, we're done with Game of Thrones," and that was part of the reason. I think the other reason that's probably not talked about as much is how much. So I know that it cost in those last couple seasons. It was $10 million an episode to just produce an episode of Game of Thrones. I think that the thing that starts to happen is renegotiations season to season get extremely difficult with the actors, because like you can never really change Daenerys, right? Like season 1, she probably was getting pennies. Like she probably didn't make a lot of money season 1. You imagine though in the last season, like season 8, how much Daenerys like character is getting. Amelia Green, I think is her name. Clark. Amelia Clark. Can you imagine how much she was getting in season 8 of the show after like all the years and renegotiations on her contract? Same thing with like Tyrion and the character like Jon Snow, the big characters, Sansa, Arya, the ones who are in the show from literally episode 1, and they're all the way up to season 8, the last episode. Like they're in every single season. Their contracts probably got so outrageous over time, like millions of dollars. I know at one point Cersei, the actress for Cersei was getting paid. Was it $1 million every episode that she appeared in? It was something ridiculous. Her and Tyrion.
Wine. Good for her, man. Yes. I want that to be my life. Pay me $1 million for, a day on set to drink wine. Oh, I'd love that.
And talk shit.
That's what, the last season, that's all she did. She's like, I blew some stuff up. I'm going to drink wine now.
And talk shit.
That is what she did. Yeah. There's also maybe a part of it that they wanted to do the Seinfeld. They wanted to go out on top. They were like, well, we're the biggest show, so before we decline, let's just end it.
Well,
that's
now it is. It's actually insane that it went from the most talked about, most reviewed, most seen show, in recent television history, to everyone's forgotten about it. No one's talking about Game of Thrones. Actually, everyone kind of hates it now.
Yeah, and that's because of the ending. It's a shame because I don't know, man. Like it could have kept going. They could have kept making more money
easily.
There's been stuff that has come out. I don't know if it come out recently or I remember reading some of the stuff back in the day, but George R.R. Martin started, season 5 is where he started to get worried about the show, from what I've read.
But that's where they ran out of books, right?
Yeah, that's the last one.
Apparently, I don't know how true all of this is. Apparently David and Dan have stated that George R.R. Martin told them the ending and told them who sits on the throne. Apparently, George has said that he has not told anybody the ending, and he has not told anybody who sits on the throne.
Oh wow!
So
I heard the first one that he told them the ending, so that the ending that we got was the correct ending. It just the way we got there was not correct.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the way we got there is all wrong, definitely.
Yeah, but I didn't know that it has come out or maybe speculated or rumored that he did not tell them the ending at all, and they just made some shit up.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff happening.
You could tell that the showrunners, they're really good at adaptation. They're not good at creating. Which makes me wonder when did George go to HBO and ask them for more seasons?
That's a good question. Actually, I don't know. I don't know exactly when it was. But the way it sounded in the article was that this happened during the last 2 to 3 seasons. So 6, 7, or 8 is when this happened. Here's the thing. I would not be surprised if the ending that we got is the correct ending, right? It's the way we got there that's wrong. I can believe the ending that Daenerys does descend into madness. She has a fucking dragon and an army that's unbeatable. I can absolutely see, because they do make slight allusions to it throughout the show. Like, I'm not going to act like it's completely foreign that she became crazy at the end. It's just a way it happened too fast in the actual show. If it was 10 seasons long, maybe season 7, instead of just like season 7 is fucking nuts and it's just time travel back. They're just traveling, like teleporting from place to place. There's no more traveling anymore in Game of Thrones in season 7 and 8. Maybe instead of the show speeding up for season 7, that's the beginning of her descent. Like things start to happen that unravel her over time. Like she loses Missandei, her best friend who braids her hair, like season 7, and then season 8, like more things start to happen. More things start to happen that kind of she loses another dragon, for example. Because yeah, season 7 is where she loses the first dragon. I think that's when the fucking ice dude throws that thing. The what's he called? The what king?
The night. He doesn't matter. He didn't matter. So
he didn't matter.
Yeah,
like.
They just were like, oh, you know, I don't know. I guess Arya will one-shot him.
Yeah.
So
the
like
entire point of them was just
but I could see like, you know, season 7 she like maybe loses Missandei. Season 8 she maybe loses the dragon, and then like these things slowly start to, and then she gets betrayed by someone again, like after she's already been betrayed by Jorah, and it starts to slowly like eat over time, and then maybe Tyrion might be the final betrayal for his sister and his brother, because you know he does love them more than anything else. So I can see like a slow descent where it's like, holy shit, I've tried to trust people. I've tried to like do everything in a nice way, but you people are just fucking hopeless. Like trying to save this world and trying to be kind to people has not worked. And dragons, fire, just
drag in.
Yeah, it only takes one actually. It only takes one. It only takes one to wipe out the biggest city. It takes one dragon.
And that's, you know, that was always my biggest gripe, is I didn't care that Bran ended up being the king or whatever, or that Daenerys went crazy. It just all came the fuck out of nowhere. It was like one day Daenerys was like, I'm gonna be Teddy Roosevelt, and then the next day she was like, "Psych, I'm Hitler," and I was like, "Whoa, what?"
Like actual Hitler.
and yeah, like it didn't make any fucking sense how quickly everything happened. Or how
it happened way too fast. She just went into madness, and with 10 seasons, and also like to be clear, 10 seasons, but the seasons aren't shorter. Because I hated the fact that 7 and 8 for some reason they just weren't 10 episodes. Like, what the fuck are we doing? I don't need episodes to be an hour and 30 minutes. I just need hour-long episodes, 10 episodes a season.
Yep.
And you get a bunch of development. Traveling from place to place is not literally teleportation. You don't go from fucking King's Landing to Winterfell in an episode. That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Also, just on the note of her going crazy, and like in that last war, there's a part where they surrender. They ring the bells and she burns everybody down. There's also a part where they literally drop their weapons, and then Daenerys
and then her men start killing people.
Kills them.
Yeah.
Which again, that didn't make any sense.
And then I think at one, Jon Snow tried to fight against it. Then he tried to stop.
And then him and Grey want to have beef.
And then Arya just would not die, no matter how many buildings fell on top of her. And I was like, "Oh shit!"
Oh my god, that episode was so fucking bad. I forgot about that.
Yeah, she rides out on the white horse.
Good thing this horse is here. Pristine.
That was the equivalent of a toe being struck by lightning, just in cinematic form.
It really was.
Much less iconic, though.
No, definitely less iconic, because I already forgot about it.
I forgot it happened until Kenny brought it up.
Yeah.
But honestly, the most egregious sin that show created was them trying to convince me that Daenerys went crazy by displaying it in the previously on Game of Thrones segment of the episode. Like, instead of them showing us Daenerys goes crazy, I don't know if anybody caught this, but the episode before the bells ring and she burns everyone down, they show all of the instances building up to her insanity throughout all of the seasons.
I see what you're saying.
On the previously on Game of Thrones. And I'm just like, this isn't where you develop character. You can't develop character here. Like,
also, great way to shoehorn that shit into me and let me know that some shit's about to go down this episode too, right? Because that's also like kind of a spoiler what you just said. Like showing me, because I know what scenes they show too. I know exactly what you're talking about. They showed the scene where she gets back from being captured and she walks in and her pyramid is under attack. And Tyrion is like, what are you going to do? And she's like, I'm going to go and burn all their ships, all their people, everything. And he's like, you can't do that. You'll be no different than your father. And that was like one of the scenes they show real quick is like, oh, look at her. She was crazy back then. She tried to go and burn.
And with the slave, when she put up the slavers like on
Slavers Bay. They tried to show those clips, but they showed them out of context, which I thought was so fucking annoying.
And they said, I know in one of like the behind the scenes things after they were like, well, she was always crazy. She was
And
always
I'm
a
like,
little
no,
crazy.
she
I don't
always,
like, but she wasn't fucking nuts though. Like
yeah, she never
she
wanted to
was,
kill kids ever.
she
There was
was
no
more
point
just
where she
kind of
wanted to kill.
stern.
There was
Because
no point.
wasn't there like the whole part when like her main dragon killed that shepherd's son, and she felt terrible
Yeah,
about
yeah, she
it,
did feel
and
terrible
she
about that.
like she tried to like give them some kind of like some
Huge
kind of
loan,
restitution or
not
something.
loan, but like a huge amount of money and all that stuff. Yeah, there
Like
definitely was a thing.
you want to tell me that same person within like us like 2 summers was like, I'm gonna burn this entire
She
city
also
down.
took down every dead child for miles. Like there was a mile marker with a dead child. That's how you knew that you traveled a
Yeah.
mile. She took down every single one and had them prepare a proper burial ground for every single one. And they said there was like over 150 or something before they got to Marine. So my whole thing is like she has always been anti children abuse. Like there was never anything about her that wanted to kill kids. And then at the end, it was like, well, kids got to die too. And
And she was like, fuck them kids.
they didn't give us any internal thoughts from her. They didn't give us like anything. She just kind of was like hearing the bells, and then she just was like, you know what, fuck it, and it was bad. We've talked about this before in our Game of Thrones episode, so check that out if you haven't heard it. But the ending of Game of Thrones was really really awful, and the fact that George R. R. Martin like begged HBO to do 10 seasons really makes it hurt even more because we now know that we got cheated. Like we already knew we got cheated. We just didn't know to what extent. And now we know to like the extent that we got cheated. Is like Game of Thrones would theoretically be ending this year.
Yeah, if it was still going. I mean, before the last season came out, you saw the interviews. Like I remember seeing an interview with George R. R. Martin, like on like the red carpet or whatever, and them asking him about it, and him basically saying like, well, I think they could have kept going, and all the actors being like, yeah, best season, it's the best season.
Yo, I never forget.
Yeah,
Jon Snow's actor was like, yeah, best season, and they were like having a hard time following those NDAs.
and
Yeah,
Peter Dinklage being like, yeah, Tyrion's apparently the smartest person in the Seven Realms, and he puts everyone in the crypt when the Necromancer King comes. I guess he's not
Yes.
that smart. Like, yeah.
And he got outsmarted by Cersei, which made no fucking sense whatsoever. Like I remember the one season 7, they go to attack the home of the Lannisters. I forget what Casterly Rock.
Lannis, or yeah,
Cassidy
Yeah,
Rock.
they go to
My man
they go
to
to
say fucking Lannisland.
No,
there's
just say Lannisport, but
so Lannisport is a
same difference,
Lannisport is a
No,
place
he was
too.
going to
Though.
say Lannister Land.
Yeah, Lannister.
Yeah, Lannisport is an area though. But they went to attack like Casterly Rock, and Cersei had apparently withdrew her whole army basically and left a couple there, and so they would be stranded because they destroyed their ships from behind. So he got outsmarted there, and I'm like, okay, Cersei has never been shown to be a tactician or battle genius. Like that's just never been a thing. In season 2, when Tyrion was
Go ahead,
yeah,
sorry.
in season 2, when Tyrion is handed a king, Tyrion wins them the Battle of Blackwater Bay, or at least he stalls long enough for their dad to arrive and save them from fucking Stannis. It's always been Tyrion as the battle tactician, as the guy that like wins, with the sneaky methods. For his sister to out of nowhere like outsmart him in a war is wild. Like that is wild.
And she has no real war experience.
Yeah, it's her and Jaime, and even still though, Jaime again, he's not that smart either. He got captured.
He's a soldier. He's not a tactician.
No, he's not. He's not the dad. He's not Tywin. He got captured. Like Jaime got fucking captured, which basically, honestly, the Starks had the war won. Like the way the war was going, if Catelyn Stark didn't release Jaime with the hope that he would return their daughters, the whole show would have gone differently. But that's one of the great things about Game of Thrones is it has all of those scenes where you're like, damn, if this did not happen, everything would be different. Like if this one thing, if Catelyn Stark never released Jaime as a prisoner, or if Robb Stark didn't marry some random foreign girl, and then go against his own vow that he made to Walder Frey, like everything would be different. There's so many instances where like if this character did this one thing differently, the entire show changes.
But then Cersei gathered all of her enemies in one church and blew them all up. Which honestly, it's a very emotional thing to do, to gather all the people you hate and blow them up. But luckily for her, it was the smartest thing to do. I thought it was. It's like honestly, it's a moment of juxtaposition in that show for me because it's probably my favorite scene in all of television. But I hate it. I hate it to pieces. I hate that she did that and that there was literally no repercussion. No
Yep.
one was like, "Who blew up everyone in the Sept?" I
Yeah,
don't
like
know. Well,
she
I
did
guess we'll move on.
an act of terrorism, like actual terrorism. And no one like okay, so then she becomes the queen, and everyone's just okay with that, which is
Yeah.
wild to me.
Like, I mean, I'm sure people weren't okay with it because they were probably terrified, but like, I'm also
Yeah.
just like, there comes a point where when someone blows up the church with everyone in it, you're just like, oh, it was that bitch. We got to get her.
You know what it
Like,
is though.
you know,
We had you know what it is, and this is the annoying part about them pacing the show so badly at the end. They rushed like so that season 6 episode 10 is my favorite episode of Game of Thrones. I think it's the best episode of Game of Thrones, the one where she blows up the church, because every single scene in that episode is amazing. But specifically, I think that we're supposed to just assume propaganda. Like they can't link it to Cersei's actions directly. It's more like one of those things. Oh, there was an accident, and there was like wildfire being kept under there. Everyone knew about it. The rumors were true. The Mad King,
yeah, but
wildfire. It's it's bad that we have to assume that, and we didn't get like just a little scene where people in the streets are talking. Because Game of
right, right,
Thrones.
right. Like give us something
Yeah, 'cause you
because
know how
like,
like
this is the world where like the king's right hand man stabbed him in the back
yes,
and committed regicide and
yes,
started a whole new line of kings.
and that's
So
a
I
whole
don't want to
part of the
hear
story,
that like people can't like overthrow whoever the current monarch is.
right?
It's happened to that throne like at least 7 times.
And the other crazy thing is, in the earlier seasons, you would get cool ass scenes like this. Somebody would go into a pub, they would be getting a drink, and then they would overhear a conversation. And it could literally be Bronn going to a fucking whorehouse and them talking about, I heard it was the queen who blew up the church. And it's like, no, she would never. Like you could have like people like arguing back and forth about who they think did it. And that little background conversation could literally be, okay, that's how people think about what
Or
happened.
even better, someone says that, and then the other person's like, "Shush, you can't say that out loud," or some crazy
Right.
shit like that,
Yeah.
showing like obviously people are terrified of
Yes, people
admitting
are,
what
but we didn't
actually
get
happened.
anything. Like
Nothing.
honestly, the show kind of dropped regular people altogether. When you, like, I didn't think about this until now. There's no more scenes of like people in whorehouses and pubs in those last 2 seasons. There's no more like world building and that thing. It's just kind of like all your pieces are on the table now. All your main players, which is fine. Like it's the last seasons, but then like it kind of loses the Game of Thrones essence at the end.
It's
Like I
all
just
major
remember,
characters doing major shit, and
yeah,
there's no the scale. You kind of get lost in the scale because everybody's just teleporting. It's all just major characters and every major location doing major things. And it's
man,
just
some of those whorehouse scenes were some of the best scenes of Game of Thrones.
yeah,
Like honestly, some of the conversations that happen in those whorehouses are so like think about it. Rosalind and Tyrion, he goes to the whorehouse the one time and she goes to like, service him and he like grabs her hands like I'm not here for that. I want information. Like that type like those things, it's so cool seeing like that type of stuff. And then you overhear other things and there's so much character development that happens in bars and stuff like that and the background conversations that happen. But again, you just lose all of that at the end. It's just
That's what a political drama is, and that's what people showed up for. They wanted that because that's what the show started as. The show started as, the kid, a child of one of the lords of the Seven Kingdoms, seeing the queen and her brother fucking. Right,
yes.
like, and like that just
So
starting
wild.
everything, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and that's a political drama. Like
yeah.
he was just doing his own thing. He was climbing, and
Yep,
then he's like, "Oh," and then they were like, "Bye, child," and then
yep.
that. But
Yeah, we got cheated.
unfortunately,
What I will say is House of the Dragon comes out next year, I believe. And that shit does look promising. It looks exactly like Game of Thrones. Like I think we watched the trailer a while ago when it first
yeah.
released. It's like a minute long. It looks exactly like Game of Thrones. I'm hoping that it holds up. It's a prequel and everything. I'm excited for it because I really have like I want that old thing back. And hopefully D&D are nowhere near it. I don't think they are, but hopefully they never get anywhere near it. Hopefully some new people are writing or doing whatever they need to do to like make sure that the show recaptures the essence of Game of Thrones. It's going to have dragons, which is great because I feel like that is a big part of what separates Game of Thrones from like I don't know a lot of other these fantasy worlds that just do the old time thing, like the medieval times. The dragons are a huge aspect of it. I think that's part of what makes Game of Thrones like why it's so big. It's literally I think the dragons play such a huge role in why the show is so big. But yeah, I'm excited for House of Dragon. I mean, it's literally called House of Dragon, so they know too. Like HBO is very aware of what made Game of Thrones. Like outside of the amazing writing that George R. R. Martin did, the dragon aspect of it, seeing them on screen, the CG on some of those dragon scenes like is so impressive and just so insane and epic that when you're watching, it's like holy shit.
It's almost like the better that the show's production got, the worse that the writing for the actual show got.
Yes,
And
exactly.
that really is a shame because, like, I always like, especially at like the beginning of Game of Thrones, I was like, man, I was like, Game of Thrones could be the next Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Instead, it just became Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And like, that's a shame because now it's not really its own thing. I mean, I guess it's its own thing and that everyone hates it.
Yeah.
So,
like everyone who's ever seen is like the ending is god awful.
Yeah. But it could have been like the next big thing with its own identity.
Yep.
You know, and that like the next big thing because of that identity. But then it did really end up trying to become Lord of the Rings, and like in that it just became this really bad like betrayal to the audience.
I will say this, and Kenny and I think we both agree on this, right? As bad as it ended, Game of Thrones is still 100% worth watching, and
I agree.
It's even worth rewatching. Like I've rewatched it since it's ended, despite knowing how bad the ending is. Especially like Gary had never seen it, and I called him at like the end of season 1, I think, when I realized that he was watching it. I was like, holy shit, I want to watch it with you. And then we literally watched it every day from season 1 to all the way to season 8, and it was like up until season 8, literally, I was like, holy shit, man, this show is so fucking good. Like it just made me realize like those first 5-6 seasons are so amazing that it's interesting. It's like the opposite of what we always say about Infinity War and Endgame. So a lot of the MCU movies before Infinity War and Endgame are garbage. Like a lot of those older movies, the Hulk, the Thor, Dark World, and all that, those movies are god awful. They're fucking terrible. But Infinity War and Endgame are so good that it's worth watching because of that. Whereas Game of Thrones, like despite the ending being awful, the Infinity War Endgame of Game of Thrones, it's terrible, right? But those first 5 seasons, those first 6 seasons are so good that like the excitement and the joy that you'll get from watching, especially if you've never seen it, and I envy people who've never seen it. It's so insane like just going through it for the first time and seeing it. It's just gonna.
The first 3 seasons are like double S tier, and then seasons 4 and 5 are still like really good. And then 6, I think, is still good, but I like it less than 4 and 5. And then 7 and 8, I just think are such a huge nosedive.
Yeah, the 7 and 8 undeniably nosedive. Yeah, and maybe like I said, one day I do want to do like we can do maybe a season an episode of the podcast. Like we'll do season 1, then we'll do season 2.
Yeah, we'll do one whole episode on one season. Yeah.
Yeah, because that could be really fun. I mean, that's not only 8 episodes of the podcast, but it's also just like I really love Game of Thrones a lot. Like, despite everything, I love the show so much. It's in my top 5 shows of all time, even still, like with the ending and everything, because I think that the writing with the actual material, like the base material that's coming directly from the books, is so well adapted that despite everything, I just think it's still that good.
It's still one of the best shows of all time, regardless of how it ended. Like, regardless of how Attack on Titan's going to end, new season starts.
Same. I know where you're going.
It starts in January. Regardless of how this season ends, I don't think it's going to end bad. But if it does end bad, every season before this was fucking amazing.
Exactly. Like, no matter what, it's still worth watching. Like, if people say, like, oh, is it worth watching? Like, yes, even though it ends bad, it is like Lost is still considered one of the best shows of all time. But I heard Lost's ending is terrible.
Well, Lost after like season 2 is kind of terrible.
Okay.
Yeah, I got lost, and I like convoluted. I like Kingdom Hearts, and I got lost. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, people love Lost. It's one of those highly revered and praised shows. I've only seen season 1, and I kind of never went back to it. It just kind of lost me a little bit. No pun intended, but yeah, I don't know. Lost is one of those shows that's really, really big, and apparently ended not the best. And same thing with like Sopranos, a show that's literally, when you look up best shows of all time, Sopranos is usually in line for like top 3. Like, it's always top 3. It's like that, Seinfeld, Breaking Bad, The Wire. Like, those shows are like, they usually move around, but Sopranos is that high up, and the ending apparently is also
not belong.
Oh shit.
He's
Well,
talking about Breaking Bad.
I mean, you know me, I don't like Breaking Bad either. I'm not a fan. I just don't. I don't see it for that show. I tried like 3 times now, and it's just such a slow burn. And I'm not a person that even needs a lot of action or anything. But like, I don't know, man. Get to the fucking point. Like, what? Like, it's a dark comedy. I don't think I like dark comedies. I think that's what it really is. I don't like dark comedies. I don't like. What's that show? Orange is the New Black. I was able to watch that for like the first 2 seasons, and then it's just bad to me. Like, I can't. They kept going and going and going. Dark comedies just don't do it for me.
Yeah, Orange is the New Black is okay. I watched like the first season. I was like, it's pretty entertaining.
Yes.
Season 2, and then like I don't know how many seasons are on. I don't remember how many seasons I saw, but it did feel like with each season it got worse, and it didn't start really good. Like first season was cool,
Right.
and then
Right.
each season just got worse, and I was like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. So I'm kind of there.
You know what is good though? You know what show is good? Though I'm not really sure how many of you can watch this. The Foundation. Or sorry, it's just called Foundation, not The Foundation, just Foundation.
Oh, that's the Apple TV show, right?
Yeah, it's on Apple TV
Huh.
Plus.
So it has to be relatively new.
We watched it after watching Dune. I liked it a lot more than Dune. That is not to say that I don't think that Dune was bad. I just think that it should have been a show. But that's maybe.
Oh, Dune would have been amazing. So I really enjoyed Dune. I liked it a lot, but I agree with you the second you said that, and I never thought about it being a show.
Pacing is so weird that it just should have been a show.
But Dune is fucking amazing.
If you like Dune, you will like Foundation. Go watch Foundation.
Damn, I just realized.
Everyone listening, go watch Foundation. It is another like sci-fi semi-political drama like Dune. It's just more it's more fantastical than Dune is though.
Yeah.
Dune's a lot more gritty.
Kenny, we got to do a Dune episode.
I'm down. I just gotta see it. Oh, it's on HBO, right? I gotta get, obviously, I have an HBO account, wink wink. That
Yeah. And I was about to say there's other ways for you to see it. We can arrange ways for you to see it.
But yeah, I actually do want to see it because I have never read the full book. I've listened to some chapters of the audiobook of Dune, and I've heard a lot about Dune, and I'm very interested in like the world of that book. It's like there's a lot that goes into that book that's really interesting, and I do want to see the movie. Based on what I know about the book, I do also wish it was just an HBO show, but
Yes, because like Anthony is correct. It would have been better as an HBO show, 100%. Like the second you said that, my mind immediately thought like, holy hell, that would have been really good.
Yeah, because my biggest issue with it is that like the pacing for the beginning is so slow, which is fine because you can have like a slowly paced thing that builds up to something at the end. But what it builds up towards at the end, especially given the pacing that it has at toward the end, second half of the movie, it just doesn't feel like
Finished.
It was a good movie.
Yeah.
Like
I felt like the ending was
the
abrupt
resolution. Too. Like the resolution that they ended up coming to didn't feel like it was the resolution of the movie. It felt like it was a step toward the resolution of the entire what is going to be the entire trilogy. Because what the resolution of the entire trilogy is going toward.
Yeah.
Like you sense what the conflict is and like where that's going to go. But like the resolution to the movie was just kind of like, and here it is, and you're like, oh,
yeah, it didn't really match. It didn't match the movie. The ending of the first movie didn't match. It kind of felt like it was the end of an episode.
Yeah, exactly. It felt like it was the end of an episode, not the end of a movie.
Exactly. For a movie, it didn't feel like an ending. It felt like an episode's ending, and that's why when you said that, I was like, holy shit, that's such a like accurate thing to say. That like it should have been a show because I agree.
With at least the way they paced it, they could have done what they did and made it a movie. Because like Lord of the Rings does that, but like the end of the Fellowship of the Ring feels like what has happened in that movie had been resolved in that movie, but then left like bits to be picked up in the next movie.
Yep. Yeah. So, but Dune is good. It's worth watching for sure. We have a pipeline of shit to do.
We do have a pipeline of shit. There's a lot of, but hey, man, that's good.
Coming down the pipeline, guys. Death Note episode, Code Geass episode, My Hero Academia episode, Dune episode, Matrix episode, No Way Home episode, Cowboy Bebop episode, if I didn't say that already. That's just like off the top of my head, just going really quick, like rapid fire. We also never did an episode. We didn't do a Final Fantasy episode, have we?
No, we talked about Final Fantasy a lot during our RPGs episode.
But we haven't done a actual episode on just Final Fantasy. And like I do want to do a deep dive into Final Fantasy VII Remake. because that game to me was fucking insanely phenomenal.
Bring me back for that one.
Oh, for
The
sure.
Final Fantasy VII Remake specifically episode.
Another thing we could bring Ant back for. We still haven't done a Zelda episode.
Yep, Zelda, and you guys
like,
know a lot more about that than I do, so that would be great.
There's a lot. There's just like a lot that we could
talk
about.
There's a lot coming down the pipeline as far as content goes. So we're not strapped for content at all. It's just more so like one getting to rehash or watch it and then putting it out. But I do like these episodes where we just kind of, rapid fire, just have a conversation between friends, and it's relevant topics like all the things we talked about today: the death of Virgil Abloh, George R. R. Martin, Spider-Man, and the tickets and all that stuff. Like all the things, Mario Party. Like these things are all recent. They are all relevant to like what's happening in the world right now. And I do like that the podcast has that ability to be not only nostalgia but also recent.
Yeah, because there's all kinds of new recent nerd shit coming out, and there's I mean, we've covered it before, but there really is. Like, it always seems like the best time to be a nerd is tomorrow, man. Like, there's always.
Oh, yes.
There's always just more crazy shit coming out that's like, man, are they really doing that? Holy shit.
I literally used to say before Game of Thrones and Avengers ended, God, please don't let me die before I get to see the end of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And how like Avengers ends, like Infinity War Endgame. Like, don't let me die in 2017 or something, where I'm like so close to the finish line. I used to always say that, and obviously I saw both of them. Infinity War Endgame, amazing. Game of Thrones, opposite. So,
speaking of news and things that might be on the horizon, I can't go into the whole thing, and off the top of my head, I don't remember the whole thing. But there was a huge leak. I want to say a few weeks or a few months ago, huge leak. And over time, and a lot of people thought the leak was fake, and right now it's still not confirmed the leak's real, but over time, there's things that are getting announced, and everything that's getting announced was on that leak. Like God of War coming to PC, and just, I don't know, random shit.
Oh, like just nerd shit.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that was on this leak that is being announced, and people are like, holy shit, is this leak real? One of the things on that leak is 2023 Kingdom Hearts 4.
Wow, that would be really soon.
That would be, and a lot of people are like, dude, that's a pipe dream. There's no way. But there's a bunch of other things that were on this leak that looked impossible and that have gotten announced.
Here's what I'll say. And this is true with Monster Hunter as well. So, artifacts, right? Like things that they've put and created for Kingdom Hearts 3, they still have all those artifacts, and those artifacts are still usable for the next Kingdom Hearts game because those graphics are insane. Like Kingdom Hearts 3, I don't need the graphics to go up to whatever fucking PS5 graphics are. I don't even know if they're like that different from PS4.
But they are gonna do that. But like they've already done that for Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
Like I think that game was obviously built for the PS5 and or like toward the PS5.
Yeah.
And then
so it's easy to upscale the artifacts as opposed to creating them from scratch. So what I'm really saying is they already have, like, Sora is already created for like that level of graphics. Like, you know what I mean? Like the worlds they already have the worlds and everything. They just have to like obviously redo everything on them. But like the maps are there. So it's not unbelievable that Kingdom Hearts 4 could be coming out sooner than 10 years.
Yeah. That's
give me Agrabah, because I want Agrabah.
Another one on there was Chrono Cross Remake.
Oh God, I need that.
Yeah, another one on there was Chrono Cross.
And I've never beat that game, but I've played it at least 10 times and pretty much gotten to the same point every time and I stop.
Yeah.
But the music and the battle system and all that stuff is all unique. And I would like to see, you said remake?
Yeah. From according to the leak, Chrono Cross Remake.
The word remake means a lot to me now from Square because of the way they did Final Fantasy VII. Because this remake is such a strong word, and I like the way they did Final Fantasy VII, and not made it literally just basically a port with better graphics.
Mm-hmm.
So the Final Fantasy VII remake is more like a requel. Especially by the time you get to the end of it, you're like, "Oh, this ain't the same game.
This is not the same game." But
this ain't the same game.
But I love that for it. Like I genuinely love that about it. And yeah, you got me excited for the Final Fantasy VII remake episode.
Yeah, the whole part where like Sephiroth comes and Aerith tells him you're wrong. I was like,
oh my God. It's like, wait, what the fuck? You two time travelers? What the hell do y'all know?
She was like, you're just, everything about you is wrong. I was like, oh, maybe she won't die this time.
The drama is
like
so
7 seconds before the end. I don't know if you guys realize, but 7 seconds is the time Sephiroth descends from the ceiling to stabbing Aerith. So, and he says 7 seconds. What will you do with it? Anyway, I'll leave that for the Final Fantasy VII
I
remake
cannot wait.
episode.
That shit is gonna be epic. I have so many theories on how I think they're gonna do it. I don't even want to. I don't even talk about it right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm obviously super fucking excited. But we can wrap this episode up here. So this is I think this is episode like 35 of the I'm There podcast. Guys, if you have anything that you want us to read aloud on the show, write into imnerdpodcast@gmail.com and Kenny and I will read it aloud on one of our episodes that does not have a guest. And yeah, also as I always say, do the things that make you happy.
Now, do them now.
Oh, I was gonna say bye, but
Bye works just as good.
bye.
All right.